Cuba, it's me! Welcome to episode 176 of the W.I.L.L.I.W show, which stands for Wrestling is Life, Life is Wrestling. Now today, I wanted to talk about having your best match. What exactly is the best match that you've had, and why? Is it the match that you got the biggest crowd response from? Is it the match that you got the most praise from? Is it the match where you felt like you performed your best and you did every move perfectly the way you had it planned in your head? What really makes the best match? Is it doing a match with the most cool moves, the cool spots? Is it telling the best story with a match? Or is it a match where it's at the end of a big storyline and it's the big payoff match? And why is it the best match to you? Is it someone wrestling against someone that maybe you look up to or you admire, or someone that's got a lot more praise in the industry than you have and holding your own with them? Now to me, I like to think about, like, one time I did an episode on my top 10 best matches I had. But really, now that I think about it, those are all great matches. But what really was my best match? Would a match that I did in front of 12 people be more of my best match if it was in front of 300 people? Quite possibly. Quite possibly. Or if I did a match that maybe I did back in the day, but I could do it over again because now I know how to time things and just take a few things out, would that be better? Like, to me, now that I've been going over this in my head, I honestly think the best match I ever had was probably against Jesse Jones, just because of the story. We told a story, a 2-year-long story that at the end had a big climax. Like a movie, like at the end of it all, we finished the story and it made sense, and we told the story with our actions and our moves. And so now that I think about it, it may not have been my technically best match technically. It may not have been the match that the fans were the loudest for. It may not have been any of that. But if I look back at all the good matches that I've had, and the bad ones, I think that my match against Jesse Jones, the final match of the feud we had, where we finally shook hands and said, you know what, let's just agree to disagree and go our separate ways and not be in each other's hair anymore. I think that was the best one after all the time of being a slave and him keeping his thumb under me and treating me like crap, and then finally turning against him, and then finally dealing with the wrath of him and all his cronies and henchmen, and finally prevailing. I just think that might have been, like, I had a lot of great matches with Sean Ball and Eddie Osborne, and I had a couple good ones with Sean Spears. But man, so I mean, this is where I'd have to look to the audience too. Like, what makes the best match for you? Is it the positioning of the moves? Is it the intensity? Is it the emotion on the wrestler's face? What makes a match so good? And now I realize everybody likes different things. Some people like hardcore wrestling. Some people like strong Japanese style wrestling. Some people like cruiserweight style wrestling. Some people like the new term they're using, indie-rific type wrestling. And I guess it depends what kind of wrestling you like, depends on your best match. But if you had to pick what your best match was, it's not so much of which match did you pick, it's why did you pick this match as your best match? And what do you do to try and make yourself have the best match? Like, if you're a wrestler, are you trying to go out there every night and have the best match, even if you're in the first or second match on the card? Or you realize that, hey, I'm only, when I'm in the main event, I'm going to try and have the best match? Or is it more exciting to you when you've been telling a story with someone? Like, a cold match is not so fun. Some guy you've never wrestled in a promotion that you've never wrestled for, and there's no story. It's just like, hey, let's throw these two guys out there in front of a crowd that doesn't know them. Even if the match is really good, Would that match be better if it had a story behind it and familiarity with the fans? I think so. So, like, what makes a best match to you? Is it the placements of the moves? Is it the interaction? Sometimes the fans make the match the best match. Look at Rock and Hogan. That was not even the best match ever, but technically it's one of the best matches ever to watch because of the fans. It's so well done. And I bet you if they went out and did that on a house show in Indiana, let's say, it wouldn't have been such a great match. Like, I think atmosphere also has something to do with it. When you have a rockin' hot crowd, that helps, and especially if there's familiarity there. So this is my question to all the wrestlers: what is your best match, and why? Why is it your best match? And to the fans, what is the best indie match you've ever seen live, and why? Because I don't find watching it on YouTube, or I'm not talking any of the big companies, a small time promotion that maybe that you're invested in or maybe not. Maybe it's your first time going to the show. Maybe it helped make it so that you started going to the shows regularly. So what is the best indie match you've ever seen live, and why? So that's it for the Willow Show, and you always got to remember, like or you get a leg drop, comment or you get a clothesline, subscribe or you get a suplex. I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba!